I'd like to welcome to the show co-director, writer, star Kelley, and star of the film Deon Cole. How are you guys doing today?
Great. How are
Great.
you?
Doing fantastic, fantastic. I am fine, thanks for asking, is about when a recently widowed mother becomes houseless. She convinces her 8-year-old daughter that they are camping for fun while working to get them off the streets. Kelley, what inspired you to write this story?
Well, it came to me in the middle of the summer after we've all been locked down during the pandemic that it just had to make a film. Like it was this pressing need to get up and make something. So I contacted Dion and my two good friends from USC Film School, my co-director Angelique and co-producer Roma and Capella. And we all got together and started discussing the issues at hand that we were seeing around us. And one of the issues here in Los Angeles is we've always had a big homeless population here. And but there was something else that were becoming more aware of due to the pandemic, and that's houselessness. That's everyone who is living paycheck to paycheck. And the pandemic really revealed how vulnerable we all are because there's just a large amount of people who ended up having to sleep on friends' couches or families' couches or in their car or in a tent. And they have work, but they're right in between. And this pandemic pushed them out of what they used to have, the stability that they used to have. And so we wanted to explore that. And in addition to that, we were seeing a lot more women out on the streets too.
One of the things that stands out to me watching the film is how you emotionally connect us to Danny and Wes right out the gate. How important was it for you to lay that foundation early?
It was the main goal of the film. Everyone needs to understand what Danny is fighting for and what she is protecting, which is her little girl and the innocence of her little girl. She can't allow her to know that they are without, because that will impact the psychological development of a young child, any young child. And there's so many young children on the streets today that we're facing. So falling in love with the connection of Danny and Wes in the opening is what's going to set the pace for why you choose to go on this journey with Danny to keep a promise to a little girl, because you too want to keep a promise to this little girl.
Yeah, and how about the role being small? What attracted you to the project?
Um, well, besides Kelley being a remarkable director and writer, just the fact that we knew that this was an issue going on in the world, and I felt like, you know, if we can help in any kind of way, this would be one of the ways. If we can help physically, we could spark the minds of others that could help. And you know, one person's trash is another person's treasure. And so if you could help a person out, I thought this would be a great conversation starter as well. So yeah, I was all in.
You highlight what it's like to be a single parent. And obviously there's a lot of selflessness. It's challenging. And you even showcase how pride can kind of stand in the way that Danny didn't want to reveal to anybody her living situation, because it is about pride, right? You want the best for your your kid, because you want better for your kids than what you had, right?
Right.
And one of the things that I thought was beautiful is how you break down how society is so broken when it comes to single parenting. How do you, I don't, we're not going to fix it today, but how do you think we can start that process other than just this conversation?
I think it's connecting to the humanity in every individual. So so a character like Danny speaks to a single parent, how you said people look down on single parents. And, you know, it's funny, if you're going to look down on a single parent, they tend to be the woman. as though like you couldn't hold it together, you couldn't keep a man, you couldn't this and that. If it's a single dad, it's kind of praised, which is still great. Everybody wants a good father. but nonetheless, it's like for women, it's expected. You are to take care of this child, and you couldn't, and some people see it as, oh, you couldn't keep a family together or whatever it may be, but that's all nonsense. Everyone has their own circumstances, their own paths in life, their own, and if you are with this child, a woman or a man, and you are raising a child, you are a fantastic human being if you're trying to protect their well-being and you're invested in their development in a positive way. So hopefully with a film like this, you can see in Dani her humanity and the things that she is trying to overcome, and her trying to be a good, upstanding mother. I mean, even with Deon's character, she could have gone with him. It's so simple. She could have had the money. And this is like, Deon brought this character to the film. It wasn't originally in this film. And when he was reviewing our script, he was like, well, wait a second, you telling me she's skating around town in biker shorts this whole time and nobody's hollering at her? Like, and then so he brought this male perspective that we had just overlooked. So it was a great balance and a reality, because it is true. Like, as women, you can do that. There are options for that. But what do you do as a mother who's trying to set an example, even if your kid isn't watching? It's an example for your spirit, for who you are. And Dani is faced with decisions like that, with characters like Deon's that he brought to this whole movie, which really raised the stakes significantly.
Speaking of that, Deon, what car was that were you driving in? Because I mean, don't get me wrong, when you pull up, I'm like, man, I want to be him. Like, you know what I mean? Like you just, like I said, the world's not super, but for me, like, you bring a presence to the screen in that scene that really encaptures the idea of what Dani could do. Like, again, that to me, that important pride that stands in the way of wanting to do right versus wanting to get to that next side. First of all, what was that car? I needed to know just because it's awesome.
The Spider, Ferrari Spider, yeah.
What was it like driving that thing?
Fast. fast car.
One of the things that I did notice, obviously, the use of the mask, and obviously a lot of this was filmed during the pandemic. So I'll speak to both of you. Deon, first, what was it like shooting during this time?
Man, it's difficult, it's challenging, definitely challenging. You know, your normal days would be, 6 to 7 hours, which is now 9 to 10 to 11, so, but it's for your own safety, and it also shows, your dedication to your craft. And so everyone has to give a little in order to, get it done. So that's what everybody did, basically. So yeah, it's challenging, but we pulled it off, thank God.
And that was a discussion about whether or not it goes in a film. Do we make a film where we're pretending like we're not in a pandemic and these are just her circumstances, or do we address presently what's going on and where this whole concept stimulated from? And so we knew we were going to be guerrillaing this film. When I first brought it to everybody, I said, we got to Sean Baker this, we got to Tangerine this, we got a Qasim Basir and Samantha Tanner with Boy Girl Dream. They threw an outline together, let the actors go. So I was really inspired by these filmmakers. And we knew that if we were going to guerrilla, we would probably catch people in the background in masks. So we incorporated it and say, you know what, we can't ignore this. We have to fully address the circumstances that are causing this issue that this character is facing, and we can't ignore it trying to be Hollywood or imperfect. We just have to be what we are, and that's what this movie came to be. I'm fine, thanks for asking.
I love the title. I mean, how often do you get asked, how are you doing? I'm fine. And there's so many layers behind that answer that not everybody knows. It could be you're legitimately fine, or I'm fine, but leave me alone, or like, it goes on and on. So
Yeah.
you wrote, direct, and star in this. To me, I try to wrap my head around the possibility of juggling all of that. What was that like for you? Because I think this is like your first featured, I do believe.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, when I watch this, and I'm not just saying, I can't. It's hard for me to believe because I think it's amazing. I do think how you layer the story. As a parent myself, it really reels you in. And I mean, I'll warn everybody that watches it: have the tissues handy. You know what I mean? It's a very emotional journey. So, what was it like, kind of being that trifecta?
It's okay. That is a challenging thing to do, to juggle all of that at once. But when you have a team like Deon and like Angelique Roma Capella and the rest of the team holding it together, it makes it a tad bit easier because you know that the person next to you has your back. So even if you drop a ball, someone else is going to catch it. And it's a team effort. Plus, this came out of circumstances. Like we were just talking about safety and masks and things like that. So when I had brought up to the team that we should shoot a feature film, the major question was safety. Well, how are we going to do this? And then so I said, well, we have to keep the set to 10 or less all the time. And they're like, well, how are we going to cast? And I'm like, well, that means that we're going to have to be the cast. And so it's like a family of filmmakers, and we all came together and made it. So it was kind of just having to do what you got to do with the opportunity and the timing that we did it in.
Absolutely. So before we go, I like to ask one fun question before we go. It's just a little light one to go. What is your go-to karaoke song?
I know mine. I was just telling you it the other day. George Michael's Faith.
I love it.
Go to karaoke. Anything George Michael, really. But Faith is my jam. I'm curious about Deon's answer.
Yeah, Deon.
Lenny Kravitz, Fly Away.
Oh shoot, that's a great one.
Yeah.
That's a great one. I love that.
One and done. That's what I do that, and then I'm done for the rest of the day.
Exactly.
But it's a hit, right?
Yeah,
it's a hit. They're like, that boy can sing.
Yeah,
We're gonna have our rap party at a karaoke place because we still haven't had a rap party because it's not safe to gather.
Exactly. There you go. Look, I just sparked that. Boom. Karaoke party is part of the rap party now. There you go. I'm Fine. Thanks for asking is debuting at South by Southwest. Thank you so much for your time today, guys. I really do greatly appreciate it.
Also, can we say that if you want to learn more information about like what time we're premiering, which is March 17th, you can come to our page on Instagram, which is at Thanks for Asking Movie. And you can also go to South by Southwest website, which has all the great films that are premiering this year. And it'll also tell you our time and screening.
Thank you so much for your time today, guys.
Thank you.